is one of the young guys in this weight class to keep an eye on. Kasamboy RAKHIMOV, a junior world bronze medalist. He took 5th at this year's Asians. Very young, very talented and skilled. The ceiling is the limit for him because he has a high motor and he has some big moves in his arsenal.
Yeah, 21 years old, he wrestles like a little guy. I watched him wrestle an American wrestler at the Junior Worlds, Gable Steveson, who was a former champion, and Gable didn't have much of an answer for his technique. He's got great hands, big body, and great position. Now, DENG is barrel-chested. We saw him last night in the semifinals. If you go straight underneath him, he's got a chest lock where he wraps his arms around your chest, pops his hips in, and he's going to take you through. He's not very offensive, but when he's defensive, man, he is dangerous.
World silver medalist. So came home with the silver this year at the Asian Championship. Olympic wrestler for China. Back in 2016 at the Rio Games, a 13th place finish that year. The two shake hands, bronze medal, Uzbekistan and China. This will be a good measuring stick for RAKHIMOV. I'm anxious to watch the youngster, how he handles Deng Xiaowei, and right out of the gate, he gets cracked on the head.
Xiaowei, Deng is, he's got a big old head.
He does. I would not want to hit it.
No, it would, yeah. RAKHIMOV hit him straight square on, forehead to forehead. You can see Deng typically leads with that head, and it gets RAKHIMOV moving less with his hands and more with his head.
You get two guys this size with their forearm strength, with their upper body torsos. These matches are really fun to be mat side and get a close-up perspective because you appreciate the size and the strength of this weight class and the athleticism, especially when you look at the Uzbekistan wrestler RAKHIMOV.
And kind of going back to what you said about Deng being 13th in the Olympic Games, you know, he could have lost early to a really good wrestler who lost in the semifinals, so he wasn't able to wrestle back. You just never know. You see a lot of that in the World Championships. It all depends on your draw and that blind draw that we talked about earlier.
Red action.
So we hear the official calling for red action. He's saying confirm that red. He's going to go to the passivity call. First passivity against RAKHIMOV. And he's going to, in just a moment, be called again for the 30 seconds. They waited a little long to warn them both, but we're going to see red action. He goes right to it, says red action. So we're going to see RAKHIMOV go into the clock here in just a moment.
When you look at the weight classes and what we've now seen all 10 weight classes for this men's freestyle. Guys like RAKHIMOV, who could be the next generation of really great wrestlers, and he could certainly fit that bill maybe someday for Uzbekistan. Who have been give me a couple names for maybe some of the other weights, the younger stars who might not necessarily have reached the gold medal match or even a bronze medal, but names to keep an eye on maybe as the next wave of great wrestlers as China goes right to the back, and that'll be a 4-pointer. China strikes for 4. See if the reversal point is giving on the edge. I don't think so.
Went out of bounds first.
Yeah.
So RAKHIMOV on that shot clock was able with 3 seconds to go to score. So Deng doesn't get the point for the activity period and goes feet to back, but Deng is going to challenge to hopefully get that 1 point. I've been looking at a lot of these athletes, and we look at the Iranian team. They're very young. Their junior world performance in Tallinn, Estonia was phenomenal. United States, we have some hammers coming up through the pipeline to be the next big thing. China has had a resurgence, and they're putting their resources into their next wave. We've seen them really make a world scene in the last several months and several years. But you know, the same old, the rich get richer. But a lot of these former Soviet republics like Kazakhstan, like Kyrgyzstan, having their first world champion. in the women's division. That's what I say is the best about this sport. You never know who the next big thing is, but we've seen a lot of youth here. I think they're asking for 4-2. You're saying it was Deng's move.
Yeah, that's how I originally called it, so I was mistaken. They go 4 with Uzbekistan. The lost challenge is the 5th point. Yeah, I was actually kind of with the Chinese on that as I watched it naked eye for the first time, but then that second time through, I see where Uzbekistan was able to get that 4.
I talked to some officials mostly about the chest lock position and how we were seeing folks go with that chest lock, and it was inconsistent of who was scoring the 4. Well, they were saying if the wrestler that tried the initial attempt kept their hands on the legs, then they're giving it to the person who's making the attack. If their hands came off the legs, like right there where RAKHIMOV came over the head and under the arm, like a cement position, we call it cement job, then they're getting the points to the person who's changing the direction. But if the hands stay on the legs, they're calling it that's their action. And that made sense to me.
Yeah, that does. The action was certainly RAKHIMOV's on that exchange. That was the big blow in this first period, and the youngster with a 5-0 lead on China's 31-year-old Deng Jiwei, and there is RAKHIMOV. Uzbekistan has something pretty special right here.
Well, they finished very highly in the Greco-Roman tournament this year. They have some very tough individuals out of Uzbekistan. And Tashkent has had a world championship several years ago. They're a wrestling-loving society there. Tashkent pretty much just straight south, maybe a little bit southeast of Nur-Sultan. Probably about 2,000 kilometers is what they say. So about 1,500 miles straight down from Nur-Sultan.
Guys, attention, headstand, no boxing.
Now we both know Deng Jiwei has the throw capability. That's his MO. He is that big throw, danger zone type of guy who can get 4 on a toss. So he is still in this thing. It's just, can he catch RAKHIMOV? Get in the proper setup to get in position to launch.
Coming with that chop with his right arm to the side of the head of RAKHIMOV. His ears are probably ringing. He's coming straight with that forehead as well, trying to rattle him a little bit to make a mistake so that he can take him feet to back. He's going to have 2 moves here, at least. A 4-pointer and a 2-pointer. He hasn't shown a lot of offense to this point to have it to close the 5-0 gap. And Deng getting a little frustrated right now, but he's been headbutting right to the face of RAKHIMOV.
RAKHIMOV in no hurry to stand up despite the referee trying to get him back into the center. His right eye, it looks like, taking the grunt of that big forehead of Deng Jiwei. So they will attend to RAKHIMOV out to that 5-0 lead. Exactly 2 minutes to go, and you talk about the physicality. Ooh. Bang, right there. That's gonna, they hit again. Just leaning right in again. 3 head cracks. Unintentional there by Deng, but that's his style coming in. That hurts. That hurts just watching.
It does. And you said being mat side to watch how big these guys, that's the only place I'd want to watch these guys. I wouldn't want to be on the mat with them because they're big human beings. Still coming with those headbutts. I don't know how unintentional those were.
You think maybe that's leading in now? But you would think the referee would be on top of that, and he's not even listening to the plea of RAKHIMOV, who's been trying to bring that to his attention since the opening whistle, if you recall. A couple of clubs there coming from Deng Jiwei. This thing getting a little testy halfway through the final period. Now chasing and pursuing. Circling back into the center is RAKHIMOV, but China Able to latch on for 2. Nice work there by China, going for that gut wrench. He'll get the turn. All of a sudden, he's down within a point. Comes back the other way. China grabs the lead for the first time. How about this change of events? And the Chinese, just like that, have turned the tide.
And really, that's where that headbutt came into play. He continued to get that great head position on RAKHIMOV, and RAKHIMOV didn't want that head in his face anymore, so he took a bad shot. He shot straight into Deng's hips, and Deng had to go behind and locked up that gut wrench and took it side to side to side. Now, Red is challenging, I believe, that the gut wrench never got back to a defendable base. But yeah, so right here, Deng came in. RAKHIMOV was able to sprawl. Instead of just staying there, he came right up into the chest. And he took an attack, which was a bad choice, shooting into that underhook. You're not going to fireman's carry Zheng Wei Din.
No.
Xu Wei Ding has got big old hips.
So the call was 2 on this takedown, and then a series of turns. There's the first one. You can see RAKHIMOV already barking after that. And I'm not sure if he thought
he maybe had stepped out.
Yeah,
he
I
relaxed.
think that's what RAKHIMOV was saying, because he was barking right away, after this takedown.
Deng was very close to stepping on the line. Was his foot over it or on it? If you have to be a full foot outside of that zone in order to get the 2. I mean, excuse me, 1.
So as RAKHIMOV is getting turned, he's yelling at the table to say, hey, Deng was out of bounds.
He's telling his coach, please push the button to challenge for the other wrestler. I thought Deng had stepped out. I guess they found out RAKHIMOV had stepped out on the original attack.
Attention, guys, attention. Finish.
This could be a testy 60 seconds. China's going to come in with a fire. Slipping and falling was RAKHIMOV, trying to get those heels dug into their trenches, ready to tackle this bull coming at him. 40 seconds and counting. Deng Jiawei takes a look over at the clock. Disengages, launches an assault. Not a real good one. He had a lot of distance between him and the Uzbekistan wrestler. That's an easy one to corral if you're RAKHIMOV.
Again, coming back with that forehead to forehead position. Not a whole lot he can do but cause pain right now going forehead to forehead.
Big club. Another big club. Trying to get that collar tie from Deng Jiawei. This is going to be a punishing win if RAKHIMOV can hang on, and it certainly looks like he will. 2 wrestlers still barking at one another with 3 seconds to go. It's like they have given a point to RAKHIMOV, a caution and 1. Deng leading with that head a little bit too much.
That brutality rule that we see in a lot of places, he's coming with that forehead again.
And Uzbekistan has earned the bronze medal. He might have one heck of a headache in the morning, but it's going to be well worth it. A bronze medal for the 21-year-old Kassam boy RAKHIMOV.
And again, really, RAKHIMOV won with